Thanks, Kaylee. And on today's Local 6 Legal Line, attorneys from the Bryan Law Center are our guests. We've got Kevin Shannon up first. Mark Bryan will be in the hot seat shortly. And we're going to get to your questions at 1-888-208-6946. Talking about personal injury, criminal defense, anything else legal, these guys have the answers, I would just about imagine. We have a question from Jennifer who says, my son was a passenger in a car accident and the driver has already hired an attorney. Do we have to hire the same attorney to handle our injury case?
The answer to that is no, you do not. There would be no legal requirement that you do so. You can choose who you want. And in fact, you know, sometimes it makes sense for people to hire the same lawyers, but frequently it makes more sense to hire different lawyers, particularly where you might have some competing claims. And the competing claims would depend not only on who's in the car with your son, but whether there were passengers in the other automobile. So you probably ought to get some advice on that, whether it would be appropriate under the circumstances. But the answer to the question is no, you do not have to hire the same lawyer.
Charles says the attorney that we hired is not returning our calls. We are not happy with their service. Can we change attorneys?
You can. I always tell people though, you know, the old saying, you don't change horses midstream. And, you know, you hired a lawyer, presumably you liked them when you hired them. And a lot of times there's just a communication problem that can get corrected if you get on the same page. So probably try to make an appointment, write down your questions and concerns. Make sure you go in and discuss those things, what the expectations would be moving forward. And but if you don't like them, you don't like the job they're doing for you, you don't have to keep them.
Got about 1 minute left. We have another question from an anonymous viewer who says, my wreck happened in St. Louis, but I live in Princeton. Can I hire you or do I have to get a Missouri attorney?
You don't have to get a Missouri attorney. You could hire our office or any other lawyer you wanted to hire for that matter. Kind of like a question earlier, can you do something? Does it make sense? You have to weigh out all of the different possibilities. If it's a fairly straightforward collision and you get most of your medical treatment down this way, probably makes sense to hire a lawyer where you're closer to them. If you're, you know, if how the accident happened is in question, and or you're getting most of your treatment up in Missouri, then it might make sense to have a Missouri lawyer. Now, having said that, you can always have a local lawyer be your main lawyer, and the local lawyer can then get assistance from a Missouri lawyer. So there's lots of different ways to go about that.
More than one way to skin a cat. Kevin Shannon of the Bryan Law Center in Paducah has been our guest on this section of Local 6 Legal Line. We're going to let him step aside. We'll put Mark Bryan up here in just a couple of minutes. We'll be answering more questions at 1-888-208-6946. That is straight ahead right here on Local 6 Midday.